if we can kind of shift the experience of menopause from something that's scary and bad and you deal with in private to a celebration of the fact that you are a woman and, you can really feel good in your body at whatever stage you're at.
And that is 100% my goal. You said it like so perfectly. And to come out stronger.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, and emotionally, because God willing, you're going to have so many experiences and life to live. And if you do it right throughout that stage, you're going to feel so much better.
Yeah.
By having these habits that you'll continue on with.
Hi, friends. Welcome back. Today, I have special guest, Cara Eckerman. And what we're talking about today is a really important issue for women, and that is the frustrations of menopause.
Yeah.
Now, Cara is a fitness expert. She owns multiple Fit Body boot camps with her husband, John, and she also has some expertise in helping women through these frustrations. And I'm really excited to learn a lot today from you, Cara, about menopause and what that's like and how you're helping clients really navigate. I don't even know where to start, the symptoms and how the body's changing and how things are different for women, especially women once we get, past 40.
Right.
And we, time keeps ticking and things are different. So what does this look like?
Oh, man. So it's very different and individual for each and every woman.
Yeah.
Every woman experiences menopause a little bit differently.
It's such a scary word. Can we all just, why is it? Because now I'm thinking it sounds like a dirty word.
Right.
And it just sounds like something bad, but where did I even get that idea?
I think, I believe, and this is just from what I've studied and everything, what I believe is we are, as women, we're taught, going through puberty and when you have your first period and we learn about all of that, right, at a young age.
Yeah.
But we're never really taught about menopause. Even now.
I don't know very much about it.
And I didn't either, honestly, until I had feelings that I was going through perimenopause and a lot of my clients were coming to me with very similar symptoms.
So talk us through some of the symptoms.
Sure.
Because I'm in my early 40s. How do I know if I'm starting to be in perimenopause?
Right. So first and foremost, I am not a doctor by any means, in any way, shape, or form. However, hot flashes at night, struggling with sleeping.
Okay.
Joint pain. That's one that
kind of out of the blue.
Just out of the blue. And that one was really shocking when I was going through my studies and learning. They said that women, that pains and aches and pains that you didn't have before, shoulder, neck.
You probably just think, I must be getting old.
Right. And it can correlate with menopause.
Okay.
Weight gain.
Not fun.
Tired.
And you were saying specifically weight gain in the middle?
In the midsection, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in the midsection. Low energy, just feeling so fatigued.
Yeah.
Feeling out of control with your emotions. So feeling very angry, feeling okay. So kind of like a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Oh my gosh. And they range from everyone. Lack of sleep, cravings for certain foods, and really just, again, it kind of ranges for each and every woman, but those are the main ones that I see that tend to be the most common with women.
It's interesting because just as I'm thinking about these symptoms, I can see how with women, how we kind of beat ourselves up.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, okay, if I'm starting to have aches and pains, I'm probably going to be thinking oh my gosh, I'm just getting old. My body's getting falling apart. If my emotions are all over the place again, or I'm feeling fatigue and no energy and gaining weight, it's just it just feels like I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
Or I that's where my mind goes towards if this is happening to me, I'm probably going to blame myself, which I almost wonder if that makes the cycle worse because now you're feeling shame and you're feeling probably overwhelm of I don't know why this started because doesn't sound like my diet or activity level had to change for these things because it's menopause. It's not.
It's your body.
Yeah, it's your body.
You can't help it.
So what do we do? Like, let's say, there's a listener and they're like, oh my gosh, I must be in perimenopause because I'm having the hot flashes. I'm not sleeping. I'm fatigued. I've put on some weight around my middle. My emotions have been a little out of control. Like, from a health and fitness standpoint, and I know you're not a doctor, but you are a fitness professional who specifically works with women to help them through this time. Give me some hope that this isn't the end of the road.
There is hope. There is hope. And that really is my ultimate goal when I work with women. And I want them to come on the other side stronger because I do believe, and I know that to be possible 100%.
That's so important. Like, let's pause on that.
Okay.
It's possible.
It is possible.
And I feel like, the society that we live in is so focused on youth and beauty and all of this to where it can feel like, are we becoming irrelevant? Is my body going downhill? And so for you to say, like, you can feel strong, like you can feel good in your body, and like you still have, maybe the best years are still ahead of you, even if they're not childbearing years anymore. Like, there's so much more that you can do.
Right. And so much life to live past that point. So my ultimate goal is to help support the women through, and that when that time comes and they're stronger after the fact. And I do know that that is possible. So if you are listening and you are feeling frustrated, first off, you're not alone. And I think that frustration can make you feel very isolated, and it's not always spoken about.
I feel like I've never talked to anyone about menopause other than you.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about it over lunch, and then it came up in our previous episode we did together. Yeah. I'm like, I wonder if I should start thinking about that. Yeah. Like, why don't we talk about it?
I think it's just it's scary.
Yeah,
and
it is.
And then we don't want to think that, not me.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, not me. Wait, what? No, not me. That's not hot flash. No. But it is important to address it. Yeah. And again, if you do feel like, and you have a primary care physician or doctor that you trust, it's always great to see your doctor. So again, I'm just speaking from things that you can do from a nutrition and a exercise standpoint, and you just got to do it. You've got to exercise and get stronger.
Okay, so you had mentioned to me that some doctors out there, this is bizarre,
it is,
have told their patients who are in perimenopause or menopause that they should not work out.
Right, and that really grinds my gears. I'm not a doctor. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I think it might, so from what I believe is that there are some maybe medical professionals who may not even know how to help a woman through menopause. That's not their specialty.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like another thing. And from my experiences and the women that I've talked to and worked with, they feel very brushed off. They feel very like, you're going through it.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
And but not how you can deal with it.
Exactly. They're not really given a plan or any encouragement, which leads to frustration and to feeling hopeless.
Yeah.
So when someone comes and sits across from me, they feel those things. They feel frustrated and they feel hopeless. So I take it as my job to not only give them things that they can do, actual steps to help them feel better, but also to give them hope. Because it's not the end.
That's so, so important. I think just, having the connection to be able to talk to someone about it and then to be given that hope. Like, it's not all downhill from here. No, don't stop exercising. In fact, let's get you stronger. And I really want to hear some details on, like, from the health and fitness, the coaching perspective, what are some steps that you've coached your clients to take that have actually helped them feel better physically as they're in menopause?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, what we like to do is, how is their body feeling? Like, get in tune if they're having any aches and pains, any injuries. I'm not going to force a woman who has, she's actually a client of ours that we work with. She has a shoulder issue.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing her to be doing thrusters for 45 seconds when we can be doing something else. So
Sure.
it's really a customized approach that we use with these women if they do have aches and pains.
Yeah.
And we prioritize strength training.
Gotcha.
That is where our priority lies with these women.
So you're saying build muscle?
Yes.
I love this. One of my other good friends, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, was written the book Forever Strong. And she says that muscle is the organ of longevity.
It is.
And really speaking to women because, when I was growing up, like I never saw, my mom or anyone else's mom go and pick up a dumbbell or do anything to build muscle, right? Maybe there was some aerobics or something, jazzercise, but like when I got into fitness and I started learning how to lift weights and then made that part of my lifestyle to lift weights, the older generation of women are like, what are you doing? Why are you, that's where boys go and sweat. Like, why are you doing this?
100%.
Right. And so I feel like, and you tell me from your, interaction with clients on the daily basis, are women still like a little concerned or resistant to building muscle?
Right. I feel like not as much.
Good.
I feel like
we're making progress.
We are making progress. I really, truly do believe that. And we are constantly reiterating the fact, like, you're not going to get bulky. It's not in our DNA to become that.
Right.
Right. And it's like you said about muscle is our longevity. Mm-hmm. It's what's going to keep us strong, keep us alive, keep your metabolism elevated, and keep you doing all the things that you want to do in your day-to-day life. And so that is what we prioritize first and foremost. And you start where you are. Right. Like I'm never expecting someone to start off at the 20s, 15s. Like if we start with 10 pounds and work our way up, that's what we do.
Right.
We prioritize making progress through weight training.
And so really it's resistance, right? Like training under tension. So there's a ton of body weight stuff that's considered resistance training.
Yes.
I mean, especially for those of us, if we haven't been working out, doing body weight squats.
Yes.
Doing some push-ups, which, I mean, a push-up in itself is not a beginner move.
No.
Like pushing off the back of a chair.
Right.
Working up to using dumbbells or resistance bands.
Absolutely.
And then, getting full-blown to the point where, like, you can, walk around a gym and do the resistance training exercises.
Exactly.
Which is so intimidating.
I know. It is. And that's why we really try at our, studios to make it a safe, welcoming, non-intimidating environment because we get it. It is scary. And if you look around and you think that everyone else has it down when they don't. It's just like in your mind, you think that, right? But it is so important to do the resistance training. And that is really, truly one of the biggest things that we focus on with women. Walking is so powerful. Just to get out and walk a little bit.
Yeah.
Not only helps you just to clear your mind, but just like moving and having something like for yourself.
Yeah.
Because what I've also noticed is that women who are going through menopause, premenopause, perimenopause, all the above, there's a couple different things. Some women, they're empty nesters, their kiddos are gone.
Different phase of life.
They're in a different season of life. So they might be also emotionally missing that purpose in their life. And so finding something, and again, this kind of veers a little off exercise and diet. But
we can go right into mental health.
Yes, it's also for your mental health as well, because with menopause, we also have found that like women experience brain fog too. Like I think I was telling you about this. Like I'm constantly sometimes trying to pull words from my mouth. Not my mouth, but from my brain. It's like on the tip of my tongue. So finding something that like a hobby, whether it's walking, hiking, something for your mental health too is so important because again, a lot of times women through this season of life, your kids are older, they don't need you. They do need you.
Right.
But
it's just different.
It's just looks a little
different. And it can, my kids they're teens still. My son's 19, my daughter's 17.
Yeah.
They definitely still need me, but it's very different. And for me, a few years ago, going back to school and starting a new career, pursuing a whole new profession has been such a cool, like, purpose for me. Like, I have this whole new set of goals and new purpose of, like, the kids, it's in the back of my mind. I know they're going to be moving out and moving on with building their own lives very soon, but I'm also building something now, right?
Yes. And I think that's really important because it seems like those kind of things like menopause and becoming an empty nester or just like different seasons of life tend to happen around that same age. So I think mentally and emotionally, it takes a toll as well. There's also, we talked about it in our previous episode, but a lot of times women in menopause or perimenopause, they do become caretakers of family members, elderly parents, or we start to experience loss in life. So there's a lot of things that happen during this season of life. So it is important to take care of your mental health too. And I know that's where you come in because that is your expertise.
Yeah, well, I mean, getting a great therapist. But like you said, it can be as simple as, doing the self-care of, I'm going to go for a walk this time 3 days a week or every day. So just finding those little moments of self-care to allow yourself to be in the present moment.
Yes.
Right? To ground and to be in your body and really to be doing something you like. Right? And I love how you said, like, walking, getting outside, because now we're getting vitamin D in the sun.
So important.
A sunny day, we're out in nature, which is really helps our nervous system to just get in that ventral vagal state.
Yep, exactly. And I think when it comes to nutrition, and it's a common thing that I hear from women when they come to me, it's, I'm doing the same things I've always done. It's not working. I'm feeling worse. I'm gaining weight.
Yeah.
And again, hence the frustration. So it's always just, again, I treat every woman individual. There's no one size fits all when it comes to this. But being honest with yourself, I know we've chatted about this. It is so hard to do, but we may have to make some adjustments during this season of life. And it's like, hey, how good do I want to feel? And am I willing to make these changes so that I can feel better?
Yeah. So for most women who are coming in, they've put on some weight. You've convinced them that, hey, you're going to do a resistance training now. This is going to be part of your life.
Correct.
You're going to start really giving yourself some time and space for mental health.
Yes.
And now we got to look at your diet.
We do.
Because even if you've had the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the past 20 years, it's going to land in your body different now. Hormones are different, metabolism's different. So what are the main changes that you have clients make to their diet?
Adding in more protein. More protein.
Yep.
More protein is where I always like to start. I feel like it's kind of scary to always tell someone to take things away.
Yeah.
So I always like to approach it with, let's add this.
I like that.
Like, let's add protein. And depending on how open they are and how, where they're currently at with their nutrition, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the 3 meals, adding in some protein.
Yeah.
I don't really get into the nitty gritty of how much to count, just
30, 40%.
Yeah, I kind of just like give them the, I guess, freedom to choose what that looks like for them in the beginning. Because I don't want to overwhelm them, because I know by the time they come to me, they're already overwhelmed, they're frustrated, and not feeling so hopeful. So I want to give them those wins. Like, hey, did you get your protein for breakfast? Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, I give them ideas on what to do based on where they're currently at.
Yeah.
And also depends on their lifestyles. If they're someone who's, works from home or is a stay-at-home mom, it looks a little different versus I work with a lot of nurses and teachers and people in the healthcare industry where they don't really have the luxury of having those 3 meals because they're on their feet all day.
Sure.
Or they might not get a break for 11 or 12 hours. So that looks different for them, how I would work with them a little bit differently. But it's always getting in that more protein.
Add protein.
Yes, always.
Really, if you're doing the resistance training, you really want to fuel those muscles with that, the lean, healthy protein. And we know that, protein from whole food sources is always better than protein powder, protein bars. But having, high quality protein powders better than no protein.
Exactly. It's like the good, better, best situation.
But, I love this. And this is something that I do talk about quite a bit, about how like the way you look at a meal changes when you're looking at it from the perspective of really your health.
Yeah.
And
true.
Protein and fat being the two biggest macronutrients. And carbs being, the lowest.
Right.
And then making sure there's a big, healthy dose of fiber.
Yes. Get your veggies.
Get your veggies.
Get your veggie.
Yes, huh?
Get your veggie.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And so I just work with them like that, meet them where they are. A big thing as well that seems to be common is women struggling with their sleep during menopause. And, if you're not getting adequate sleep, your body's not recovering, your workouts, you're likely to sleep through that alarm because you're exhausted.
Yeah. Sleep is so important.
And it is so important. And especially during that season of life, to make sure that your body is recovering and you have the energy to go about your day is so important. So a few things, I guess just one in particular that I've shared with women they have given me feedback that's been super helpful is to make sure that have your biggest meal more at lunch, taper off your food throughout the rest of the day.
Sure.
And also to eliminate, I never realized how much people love spicy food until I've really started working with these women.
Yeah.
But no spicy food at dinner.
And this like causing acid reflux.
Yes, acid reflux, and it also enhances hot flashes at night.
Oh, interesting.
So that's just a little tidbit that I think anyone listening at home, you could implement. And alcohol too.
Stay away from alcohol.
I know that stinks for a lot of people.
Well, that's my anthem these days is like there's so many benefits to not drinking. And I feel like it gets easier, at least for me, it gets easier like getting older. It's like, I don't need to go out and be crazy.
Right.
I don't even need any alcohol. And then just feeling, my whole thing is try it for 60 days.
Yeah.
Because, we always ask the question, do I have a problem with alcohol? Which is the wrong question. Whereas we can always justify, no, I don't have a problem.
For sure.
The question is my life better without alcohol? And the only way to answer it is to try it.
Yeah.
And so for me, I never set out to put down alcohol forever. I set out to do it for 30 days. And after 30 days, I was like, oh, this feels really good. I'm going to try it for 60 days.
Yeah.
And after 60 days, I was like, I've never felt this good. Why would I go back? So just hearing that, hey, we know that alcohol impairs sleep.
Yep, it sure does. It's extra calories as well. And if you are, working out and doing the things during the day, your workouts suffer because of it.
Yeah.
You already, I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of women already experience brain fog when they're, going through this season of change. Yeah. And alcohol can only exacerbate that and make that worse.
And that was one of my other big reasons to try no alcohol was going back to school and being like, I have to memorize this stuff. I can't find that word. Like
the worst
feeling. I want my brain to be sharp, right? And so what do we do to protect our brains?
Yeah. So limiting alcohol is another recommendation. And again, it looks different for some women. Some women are like, cool, I'm down to give it up. Other women, their social life is incredibly important to them. And that's not something that they're willing to give up. So we work together and we kind of plan it out to where the next day would be like a rest day or a walk day for them. Yeah. I'm not going to have them come into the studio and do their resistance training, after they've been out, on a Friday night or whatever. We tailor their workouts accordingly. So, it's all about what you're willing to compromise for.
I think that's really important too, to realize like every woman is different.
Yes.
Every woman's experience of even when they start perimenopause or menopause, and then even how it all hits their body.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And so really the way that we combat it and the way that we like grow through it is by figuring out what works for us.
Exactly.
And it's so cool how you're working with so many different unique women that you're able to see, like, here's the big components, but everybody's like take on it is going to be a little different.
It is.
It's custom.
It is custom. And I think that's what's important. And it's what helps them to stick with their plan and be consistent with it. is because it's really tailored to them.
Yeah.
Like if someone's social life is incredibly important to them and they're always out and about and they're traveling for work with these dinners and that, it's not going to be realistic for me to have them in the studio 5 to 6 times per week and have them completely cut out alcohol.
Yeah.
I have to work with their lifestyle. And how can we make those improvements?
I'm curious if you incorporate any fasting when you're working with women through menopause.
I have not yet. I have not. That is not something I have, but I am interested.
Yeah.
Because I do believe it would be really great for women, for anyone really.
Yeah.
But I have not incorporated that yet.
Yeah. Because just looking at metabolic health, which, I mean, and I haven't studied menopause, but it seems like menopause impacts our metabolic health.
It does.
Our hormones are shifting, like everything is different. So if we can optimize our metabolic health, which we know fasting can do that for us, that adding that in to a woman's routine could be powerful.
It absolutely could.
Yeah.
No, I have not, but I'm interested in to do so.
Yeah. Well, this has been so enlightening.
Aww.
I'm glad that we're having the conversation.
Me too.
Right. And I hope that for any women out there listening who have maybe like me, they haven't even really thought about menopause yet.
Right.
It just feels like some really distant
thing in the future.
Yeah. But, when we can have these conversations and it cannot be a scary idea, right? We all age if we're lucky enough to be here.
Exactly.
Another day. And it's part of the journey of a human lifespan. And let's figure out how to do it gracefully and do it where we can still feel good in our body and have that purpose and hopefully have an amazing coach like you to really, be there to give them hope, to give them a plan.
I think really that's what women, from what I've heard, is they want to be heard.
Yeah.
They want someone to see them, to recognize and honor what they're going through with them, because I feel like in the past, they've felt so dismissed. And I always just remind them, and I know we've spoke about this so many times, but just giving yourself grace and patience. And I know that is one of the hardest things, but I find myself more than reminding them to eat their protein or come in for their strength training workouts. It's be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and be honest if you are doing the best that you can, because sometimes we know, okay, I'm not doing the best I can. Let me reassess, but just really give yourself kindness and grace through the process.
I love that. And I mean, women are amazing. Can we just point that out? Like, women are amazing, like from what our bodies do for us and for our children and our families. And like, it's hard. It's difficult. There's so many different demands on us, so many different, responsibilities and things. And we always come last.
Always.
And so, yeah, I mean, how cool if we can kind of shift the experience of menopause from something that's scary and bad and you deal with in private to a celebration of the fact that you are a woman and, you can really feel good in your body at whatever stage you're at.
And that is 100% my goal. You said it like so perfectly. And to come out stronger.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, and emotionally, because God willing, you're going to have so many experiences and life to live. And if you do it right throughout that stage, you're going to feel so much. I mean, some people could even feel better by having these habits that you'll continue on with. And it doesn't have to be scary when you have the right support system, and it can be beautiful. I
love that. And then you can also be an example for the younger women, right? The women in their 20s and their 30s who are like, kind of like we are, like, oh, menopause will never come, like being an example of like, an older woman who's strong and feels good and, is doing things with her life and feels purpose, even if her kids are grown and, even though things have changed physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Right. You can have your own purpose and you don't have to take everybody's problems on your shoulders. It's okay to take some for yourself. And it looks different for everyone, but give yourself that permission.
I feel
deserve it.
I don't know if you do this or if I'm just coming up with a brilliant idea right now.
Okay.
But like, I feel like you should have the menopausal women in a group setting.
I agree.
Right?
And that is actually something that I am looking forward to doing this year. Yes. So I'm actually going to be having groups and then also specific programs.
I mean, I'm not quite
No, but you could talk.
Yeah,
Come and share your experience. And also programs dedicated to helping specifically for that. So we would have our own workouts, their own nutritional guidance. Again, not a doctor, just helping within my scope and my expertise, nutrition. And then also it helps just to have other women to talk to.
Just this conversation, like I said, like I'm not going through it yet, but having this conversation, I'm already like, I feel more equipped when the time comes to not feel overwhelmed and scared. And I can only imagine, you know, having a community of women where you have the freedom to have these conversations and share experiences, right? Because it's one thing to learn about stuff, but then to hear like the woman next to you say, this is what it's like for me. And for you to say, this is what it's like for me. And just really share that space together. That is pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm excited for you. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. So am I.
Put me on the list.
I will. And you'll have to like maybe come and speak or something.
I love it.
Because another part that I do, not just with the women I work with that are going through menopause, but really any of my clients who are struggling, I often recommend therapy for them because as much as I love to listen, I am not equipped to help with a lot of what they're going through. They need outside help. So I'm always like, have you considered speaking with someone who is a professional? Again, I love to listen. I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will be your biggest fan. You always have, you know, I can cry on my shoulder, but at the end of the day, I'm not equipped to do what you do to heal on that level.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I went into the mental health profession is because, you know, being a trainer and coming up against self-sabotage, which for me as a trainer was so frustrating because it's like, hey, you were doing great. We got the whole plan. And then you sabotaged yourself. Why? And then understanding just with my own experience, you know, this idea of negative self-beliefs and knowing that that's real. Like we have them. We know they're not true, but we believe them. And so then I'm like, ooh, okay, I want to figure this stuff out. And so,
you're so good at it.
Well, thank you. But yeah, EMDR and doing somatic work and talk therapy. And yeah, there's so many ways for us to evolve and grow through challenges and to feel good, right?
Exactly.
It's all, this is my little radiance. And so my whole thing is I believe that like at the core of all of us is this beautiful light, this beautiful radiance, and it just gets covered up, right? It gets covered up with all the stuff that we carry and all of whatever bad habits and physical pain. And so it's just about peeling back the layers to get access, whatever age, whatever stage you're at, and whatever it takes. And sometimes what you need is a coach and a trainer and nutritionist, and sometimes you need a therapist, right? Sometimes you need all of it. Hypnotherapist. Like it's different stages and different phases of growth.
Yes, exactly.
So exciting.
It is exciting and it's empowering.
Yes,
it is empowering. And so I always encourage women like you, take your power back. Like it's your life. And even though you're in this season, it's not the end. If anything, it can be the start of a beautiful beginning.
Because women can do anything.
Because we can.
Yes, and we do.
Yes, and we do.
Awesome. Well, Cara, thank you so much. Please let our listeners know where they can find more of you.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a great question.
Look you up at your studios?
Oh, yes. Our studios at Chino Hills Fit Body Boot Camp and Brea Fit Body Boot Camp. I also have an Instagram. I don't really do much with it, but it's Cara Eckerman. And I will start to post more stuff about helping women with menopause, just free content. And it's Cara, Cara Jean Eckerman.
Awesome.
And that's me.
Thank you so much, Cara. Thank you for watching. Women, leave us your comments, questions for Cara about this big topic that we've just like taken the lid off of. Like, let's talk about menopause and how to be stronger through this process. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I will be back next week with more content.